Live. What's up? Welcome to Nighttime in the Nerd Bar, episode 84. Woo! Oh my goodness.
We're going to hit 100 beginning of next year, I think.
Yeah, all right.
Beginning at... I can't math, but
I can't
presumably
math right now, no. Soon.
Beginning of next year.
That's my notification saying we're live, and I should probably put that on silent. So
your phone's out here like, you're right, you can't math.
Yes.
Okay.
And
all right, thank you.
Well, on that note, make sure you turn on your notifications and subscribe to this channel so you know when we're going live.
Ring that bell.
Ring the bell. Yeah, so welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. If you're watching live, join us over in the live chat. Love to have you join us live. And if you're watching later, no worries, comment down below. And let's get to introductions. Hello, I am Carrie Lane.
And I'm Katie Cullen.
And we will be talking about 7 spell blades. Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
It doesn't feel like Monday.
Oh, it's you know, the holiday weekend and all that. So
yeah,
yes.
It doesn't feel like Monday. It's felt like Saturday, and then it's felt like Sunday. So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a show. Weird day to do a show. No, it's Monday.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, we have Reign of the 7 Spellblades. We're going to talk about Overwatch, as well as other recommendations of things you should check out, and a little bit of anime news. Let's go look over the chat. Yes, hello, Giga Derek says, greetings, humans. Greetings.
What's up, fam?
Yes. So hope you're all enjoying your holiday weekend. If you had the day off, awesome. And if not, hope you're having a good start to your regular work week.
Yes. Happy Labor Day. Support unions, support strikes.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So things we are excited about. There we are. So
unions.
Kids. Yes, I was gonna say unions and
unions.
Well.
We are excited about unions. Unions are great. Anyway.
But yes, in the anime news, things we're excited about. So GKIDS releases the English language pre-teaser for Studio Ghibli's The Boy and the Heron, written and directed by Academy Award-winning filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki. We'll be posting a link to that on our Twitter, which, there it is. Follow us over on NTATNB as well, because we post links and photos and things of the stuff we talk about in here. But there we go. GKIDS presents a worldwide debut of the first English language trailer video asset for this film, The Boy and the Heron. So it's a highly anticipated new film. We're always excited for more Miyazaki movies. It didn't
have any trailers released previous to this.
Yes, they're not made public prior to this exclusive Japan theatrical opening in July. So we get a little bit of the story, and it is. You can also be sure to also follow GKIDS Films. So that's the letter G, Kids Films, over on. They have it correctly. They're like on X, but I'm like, I'm sorry,
no, it's Twitter.
It's still Twitter. Yes, I'm like, it's Twitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, go
I understand
check that out.
Yeah, I understand that when it comes to press releases, etc., people do need to be accurate about calling the platform what it is currently named. However, the council has made a decision, but seeing as it is a stupid decision, I've elected to ignore it. Yeah.
So we're gonna still call it Twitter. Yes.
Y'all know what we're still talking about, you know. And if you try to look at tweets when you're not logged in, the screen still says you have a better experience on Twitter when you're logged in. Anyway, very much looking forward to a new Miyazaki movie. Does he just keep coming out of retirement?
I think so. It's one of those but I think he's a workaholic that he's like, I quit. Just kidding. I got to make more. Wait. No. Yeah. But
as long as he's taking care of himself and doing well, great. Just, make sure you're taking care of yourself and doing well. Work-life balance is not easy. Drink your water, or me over here with Hydration G Fuel, because that is how we do things sometimes.
Shout out to them. Thank you.
Shout out to G Fuel. Thank you for providing the hydration formula. It has been getting me through the summer. It just keeps heating up, and then we get a break, and then it's 100 degrees again. And seriously, this has been very helpful.
Yes. So that's it for we had just kind of quick news. Next up, we got Overwatch League is an anime.
So I'm excited, and also I'm sad, So, for those of you who did not know, did not hear previously on the show, did not hear the scuttlebutt, the future of the Overwatch League is not certain. It is entirely possible, depending on decisions teams make at the end of the financial year, that this may be the final season of Overwatch League. We don't know. It's kind of out of our hands. Yikes. Which means that this past weekend was the final weekend of regular season play for this season. I hesitate to call it the final weekend of regular season play ever because I don't like borrowing trouble, and I feel like we can't give up quite yet, but there's a bit that's kind of prepping the emotional bunker, you know? And for the final, man, so the Gladiators are out. This is kind of what we have to go with because I'm trying to unlock my phone so I can pull up the match results. Thank you, phone. This is the final weekend of regular play, which means that it was the last time that teams could shift the scores, the last time that they could set their places in the upcoming tournament. And for New York and London and Gladiators, it was all of them trying to pull themselves out of that bottom 3 spot because the bottom 3 is the cutoff. And we already knew that the Vegas Eternal and the Los Angeles Valiant, who have won 0 and 2 matches respectively all season, were not making it. Unfortunately, this weekend, the Gladiators played the Boston Uprising, our number 4 seed who only just missed making the cut out of the play-in straight into the playoffs, where, as a reminder, the Atlanta Reign, the Florida Mayhem, and the Houston Outlaws, in that order, numbers 1, 2, and 3, are chilling in those top spots and don't have to worry about the play-ins tournament. We will be getting 2 teams from the NA Play-ins tournament to join them. Presumably, Boston is going to be one of them. And Boston did 3-0 the Gladiators. It was a closer match than the score would say. The Gladiators fought very hard. It was a little late for them to finally get their noise together, but they finally did and still weren't able to pull it out against Boston. So it's a 3-0, but it was a very, very close 3-0. The Valiant, of course, did not win their match against the Mayhem because it's the Mayhem. They're in this. It's the second from the bottom versus the second from the top. Like, the banger match on Saturday wound up being the New York Excelsior versus the Vancouver Titans. Vancouver being one of those mid teams in like the 5th, 6th spot, and New York trying to claw its way out from the bottom. New York beat the Titans in a map 5. This was not a match that anyone expected them to win. So that definitely pulled them out of the bottom and clinched their spot into the play-ins. And then on Sunday, we just had banger match after banger match after banger match. We had the Defiant versus the Justice, we had the Outlaws versus the Spitfire, and we had the Reign versus the Shock. And you would think all of these would go a very specific way and that the Defiant and Justice would be the closest fought one. The ridiculous fun fact for this is that going into this match, we all knew that if the Defiant won and did it with a 3-1 map score, they would walk out of this season with 8 wins, 8 losses, and a map differential of 0. Perfectly mid, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And that is exactly what they did. Justice played their hearts out. They only managed 1 map. Toronto is looking very good. Thank goodness, because a lot of Toronto players are going to be the Team USA players in the Overwatch World Cup when that comes down the line. So Defiant has ended with a perfectly mid-season. Spitfire had a crazy game against the Outlaws, still lost to them 3-2, but it was extremely hotly contested. And the Shock really pulled themselves up. Also suffered a loss to the Reign, again, the number 1 seed, who has only lost to the number 2 and number 3 seeds in this season, but pulled it all the way to a map 5. So Atlanta is still extremely good. You still cannot discount anything that they're doing, any of their players, but they're looking pretty mortal with this meta. Because right now the meta is, have fun. You want to play dive with the Winston? You can do that. You want to roll up with the Junker Queen meta? You can do that too. Also, Orisa is viable and still viable, and we're having a blast. Like, there are multiple different metas, and then Spitfire just shows up with their Reinhardt meta and doesn't play what anyone else wants to play ever. They do their own thing. They are a wild card. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really doesn't. It damn near worked this weekend against the Outlaws. So the contention for the last two playoff spots for the NA season, for the NA teams, is going to be wild. Because the assumption is that Boston is going to play their faces off and get one of them. But that's not a guarantee. There is absolutely no guarantee that Boston's going to be the winners here. So who do we have? Who's going? And the answer is, good question. Boston and someone else is the assumption. But you can't roll on these assumptions. Boston has also proven themselves to be extremely mortal, and it is going to be a double elimination tournament. So you have to have 2 losses to be out. The teams that will be participating in that are the Boston Uprising, the London Spitfire, the New York Excelsior, the San Francisco Shock, the Toronto Defiant, the Vancouver Titans, and the Washington Justice. So a lot of talent on these teams. A safe bet is Boston. Safe bet is always Boston this season. As much as I like to make fun of them, they really have been doing a good job. And we'll see how that plays out because that starts this weekend. That's the 9th and 10th, friends. Like, it starts the 9th and 10th, and then it is the weekend after on the 16th and 17th as well. So we are still getting Overwatch weekend play. It's just no longer the regular season, and you're not going to be seeing Atlanta, Florida, or Houston play because they've got a little bit of time to prep like crazy and watch these other teams and see what they're doing. And you're not going to be seeing either LA team or Vegas play because they're done. They're done. We have also already had, and I wish I could see this. Oh. We've had our qualifier matches on the APAC side as well. I don't have those results in front of me. I'm having some trouble with that, but it's looking pretty good for Spark. So we will see what we have for them on the other side of their play-ins as well. It's we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And we will see what victor we have on the 30th in Vancouver. For those of you who are going, Godspeed. I wish I could be there. But yeah, we Overwatch League is an anime, and we have now hit our tournament arc.
Nice.
Yes.
Not exactly tournaments, but we did get around to who's the strongest theme.
It's kind of a tournament. It's a little weird.
Yes. So yeah,
This
now we're
show,
talking.
man.
Yes, we are talking about Reign of the Seven Spellblades. We are covering episodes 7, 8, and 9, and now we're caught up. So woohoo! Nobody can do spoilers, but no manga spoilers, please.
Yeah, no manga, no light novels.
This show just keeps getting more like, oh,
gotta love the 4-month time skip that we started out with in episode 7. It's been 4 months since he went missing. Megan and I watching this like, it's what now?
And then it's been 6 months since they've been there because now they can go do brooms. And I'm like, what? Oh,
cool,
okay,
great, awesome. What?
Yep.
Huh?
Sure. I mean, I guess yay for no filler because we're just gonna skip ahead to like they've already been there for a while. All right, cool, I'll take it.
I'm wondering how this shakes out in the manga and in the light novels. I'm wondering if there's cut content or if this is just kind of what happens.
That's true. Are they like 6 months later?
Yeah.
They could. I don't know. This is definitely a trope in anime too of like just jumping in time. At least they tell you. I've had one show one time where did I miss episodes? Like it just jumped and nobody said anything and you just kind of infer, oh, it's later. All right. But
sure.
Yes. So we start off with the Reversi, which I thought was very interesting of like, okay. Because at first you're like, where are you going with this? Like,
yeah, there is a lot to talk about here in terms of gender play. I'm not necessarily qualified to talk about it all, but this show has very much introduced the concept of people who can change gender, presumably at will once they're able to control it. It does not seem that that's the case for Pete
not
right
yet.
now.
Yeah. I was wondering that too.
So
I'm like, is this at will? Is this a certain, like, every 6 months it happens? Like,
I don't know.
we don't know yet.
But Pete has caught a case of gender. And it's it's hard to talk about this because American ideas of gender and gender identity and gender politics are different from Japanese idea of gender identity, gender politics, etc. There is something of a culture gap. And so I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's weird how they did this. Because, like, I don't know.
This is a big trope. I've seen,
oh, yeah.
I mean, we have Ramo and Half, which is like the earliest, well, not earliest, but one of the early well-known shows that does it. I remember there's one, I can't remember the name, but it's essentially a guy and an alien spaceship crash lands, kills him, and they're like, whoops, our bad. And they bring him back to life because they weren't supposed to interfere, but they bring him back as a girl. And then it addresses that. And it's, I remember I enjoyed the show, but you know, it is one of those, like, depends how they address it of if it's problematic. I like that this one did it as a very celebrated, like, that's a really cool magical ability you have, and how the masculine and feminine have different abilities and different strengths, and like you could do better things at one time or the other, even like the womb thing. I was like,
and also your uterus is a magic receptacle. And I'm like, I don't know anyone who, given this ability, would not want to swap to male presenting for a week every month. I don't know anyone who wouldn't ollie out of that if given a chance.
So, like, that was really interesting. I love that the girls were so excited about it too, which I kind of would have guessed. And they're like, oh, yay!
Yeah, everyone's like, congratulations. And he's like, this is happening to me.
Yes. And it's handled with tact too, because even Oliver's like, okay, I gotta ask too, is everything different? And it's like, yes, it is. Okay. Like, and I'm like, oh.
Yes, it is.
And I feel that was like the best person that Pete could have talked to, that because Oliver's really doctoral about it, you know, like very business, and it's not weird. It's very like, okay, this happens and no big and okay. But then there's the kind of subtle innuendo, like, have you done this before?
It's just like, okay, guys. Honestly, the best thing about this episode is the, we've been calling it the Gay Straight Alliance, the club that they do at the end. And I'm like, this is a net positive thing at this school. And then my roommate pointed out, it's also student run. You notice that, like, every other weird fucked up thing in this school is a faculty thing, and then this so far extremely positive thing is a student run thing. It's like, oh, yeah. Like,
also really dug.
It's depressing. It's depressing that all the faculty stuff is like, but what if murder?
Well, we get their like weird secret meeting in the beginning. I'm like, I don't trust any of y'all. And
well, it's the murder cabal meeting.
Yes, exactly.
And then also Michaela's dad, who I kind of hope wasn't in on, like, I didn't see him in the flashback, and I don't think he was named in the Cersei, Ilan-Payne, the Hound list, you know?
Yes.
But he's also a terrible teacher.
Yeah. Then it was, so the club, I also like that we verified, like, okay, cool, the student president is also a good guy. Like, there's no, you know, nothing we got to worry about there as of yet. So that was kind of nice of like, there are good allies around and not more ways than one. But, you know, because we were like, I don't know, so many other students are a bit like, okay,
sus. Also, in 2 of these 3 episodes, we had themes of, this is messed up. I want to do the best that I can to change it and make it for the better. And so I'm sitting here going, so the rot in this place is all coming down from the faculty level. And again, the faculty is our murder cabal. But like, it makes me wonder, just this whole, Kimberly is this great school. And I mean, it's got a 20% fatality rate. But and it's just like, okay, but like, if the faculty actually did things like took precautions and cared and didn't have their students disarming bombs full of snakes and things like that, like, you're still going to have you're still going to have a fatality rate just because so much of this stuff is so dangerous.
Yeah.
But like, if you gave a damn and took some actual precautions and acted like an educator and not a fucking crazy person, then maybe you wouldn't have a 20% fatality rate.
Yeah.
Like, the the fish rots from the head, as it were. So as much as I sit here and go, oh, the murder cult, that's messed up, it's also like, I'm kind of here for the murder cult if the faculty is what's messing this up for everyone. Like, I don't know,
Yep.
man. Maybe this is magical BYU and the whole thing does not represent the world at large. I don't know. And for people going, oh, BYU, I grew up in Colorado. It's a football rivalry thing.
Well, and Kika Derek points out, glad to have something not cult or murder in this school. Yes. Right.
And it's the Gay Straight Alliance. I'm here for it.
And essentially also a little bit of a music club too, you know, of like we get violin, we get singing. So
I mean, like when you do club meetings, you would have the discussion portion, but then you would also have like an activity.
Yeah.
So and I feel like that was that night's activity.
Fair. Then I feel that was a big one with that one. So the other thing we get in these episodes, and we get our dickhead duel. Because that guy, I was like, who is this? Oh, he's just, because at first I thought when we had this still like kind of barely profile face, I thought it was the attendant to that relative of Michaela.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh no. I'm just like, who is this dude? Have we met him? Because he's like, you've already wronged me. I'm like, who the fuck are you? No, he's just an asshole that's like, I want to be the toughest at school. All right, guess we learned you're not real fast.
I can kind of appreciate that though. Like,
it was
I'm
funny.
Also,
like, what?
I'm also wondering if I think they would have made it a point if he was also in Pete's situation, if he was a normie, if he had to pass the tests, if whatever, like if he was in that same boat. But I feel like this might be, oh, one of the more minor noble families, or oh, whatever, that sort of had to make his own way, had to prove himself, etc. Because we had all those issues with Dick being compared to Michaela and having problems, and like, man, this school needs a therapist. But that would be faculty, and I wouldn't trust them.
But then his fights too are nothing where it's actual violence and everything. So it is one of those, okay, like this seems to be a safe way to test it all out, and everybody gets on board, and nobody is forcing anybody to do it. Everybody is like consenting of like, yes, sign me up. So okay, that's cool.
And if you lose all 10 of your star chips, you have to leave the island.
Yeah.
I can't go through this anime without referencing other things. If it's not Harry Potter, it's Game of Thrones, or it's Yu-Gi-Oh, or it just like every time something comes up, it's like, oh, this was just like Blorbo from my other shows. It's like, that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. There's only 8 stories in the world, and they've all been told 1,000 times. It's all execution. But it's also hard not to make the if you lose all your star chips, you have to leave the island joke. Like, that's what this is. If you lose all 10 of your medals, you're out. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
I think you saw it, but I was putting it up again. Because, again, therapy and anime, never. Yeah, I agree. Probably not going to happen. No, because we survive on the power of friendship, which I do love that our core group is still, like, they're so for each other that all the other students know, too. Like, okay, you guys all protect each other, which makes sense. Like, this is Survivor. You're having allies, but all the way to the end, because there is no way you're going to survive this without assistance. And I agree too of the, okay, let's go, you know, in anytime you're going in the labyrinth, buddy system, nobody goes alone. And we got dual labyrinth, but less star chips and more death.
Yeah, less Paradox Brothers too, thank God. Anyway,
so
I do appreciate this tournament. I also appreciate that our guy who instigates it, our swagger guy,
like Dustin or something like that.
Yeah, learns his lesson and then goes, okay, this guy that I'm fighting, I don't like him because he's getting all the attention instead of me, but he's got a point. So,
because he's he needs to learn to get better too. He's not as good as he thinks he is. Actually, you know, a weird thing that I was sorry, I thought you were. I was like, was that a comma?
No, sorry.
I was concerned because of other either real life shows or something else. I was like, is he going to expose Pete like literally and figuratively? Like, is he? I almost thought in the duel he'd like cut his jacket,
cut the coat open.
Because I'm like, come on, we've seen that before, and we could, because that would be like the fan servicey thing, and that would be, and I'm glad they didn't go that route. Like, he does have the jabs where it seems like he is aware that something is going on, but it's not like yelling to everybody. So it is just so more. So I like that it wasn't as creepy or bothersome as it could have been. I was like, okay, good. He's just a smart ass, trying to prove himself.
I also wonder if he was picking on Pete, as it were, because Pete is Oliver's roommate and he dislikes Oliver. And it's like, oh, well, you're not up to snuff in terms of your dueling. You haven't figured your sword fighting stuff. They're going to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm going to lead you down the path that rocks. And it's like, the path that rocks has no fucking technique, dude.
Yeah.
That's a very short path. Try again.
Or it's kind of one of those, the tough love of, in a way, he's helping Pete get better. You need to get better, but he's just, how he does it is a little more not as kind.
Spite is a hell of a motivator.
This is true. Then the other thing too, I think the other big theme by the third episode we were watching was they get their own little clubhouse. So yay. But we do have
the former lab of the girl who had the Garuda and was doing brainstem surgery. And it's like, did you give it to her because you felt bad? Or did you lose your privileges because, one, you no longer had faculty support?
Yeah.
The guy who was providing you with your test test subjects dried up, as it were. Or were you just like, I understand the kindness of her being or whatever, and I'm done with it? Like, did you have to give it up, or was it no longer practical because you could no longer use? Like, what do we have here?
Of, all right, fine, because in a way they're similar mindsets of, she wants to help the animals out and everything. Oh yeah, because I liked her numbers too. Katie was like, do you know how many animals are killed at the school? Like, oh my gosh. Demi.
Yeah, it's like 8,200. Yeah. And I'm sitting here, it's like, you know what that statistic is? And I'm over here like, demi-human deaths. And she's like, demi-human deaths at this school. I'm like, oh, that's worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like that. And it's nice for them to have like their hangout, safe space, which Oliver has his own with his family, which that was interesting too. Like, okay. Yeah. But the booby traps on the way there was very funny. And okay, like...
This felt like, this whole last episode here felt like, for me, when I was younger, I'd watch a lot of, not necessarily older anime, but 90s, whatever. Slayers, for me, had the best examples of this, all the different Slayer series, which tended to average out about 26 episodes. And you would have intermittent plot and comedy. You'd have your fun. And then in the late teens, early 20s, you would have an episode that was just balls to the wall hilarity. It was ridiculous. It was funny. It was a grand old time, because the entire rest of the season would be extremely heavy plot, verging on depressing at times. Like, the various Slayer series did not hold back. Next and Try did not care about your feelings. It's like, hey, you love all of these people. You're also kind of feeling for the villain at points. Or in some cases, like, oh, you thought that was the villain. You're funny. Here's this other person you kind of care about now. Guess who they've been the whole time? So Slayers really did not care about your feelings in the best and worst of ways sometimes.
Yeah.
And there are a number of anime that do this, where you'll have just a kooky, fun, weird little comedy episode right before everything goes straight to hell. This is episode 9 of a 13-episode season. And just the fact that they're sitting there doing that whole, we've made a name, everyone burn this into your memories.
Nice.
I'm like, all right, eeny, meeny, miny, you. Who's going to die?
No.
My bet is on either Guy or Michaela, because Guy has kind of been dead weight the whole season.
A little bit.
with the exception of the snake thing. It's like he's just there to be fun. The little mother-father exchange a couple episodes
That
earlier
was funny. That was
perfect. Perfect. So good.
great. Yeah.
Or Michaela, because
No,
she's
she's
been
too
load
good.
bearing. And because we've seen like various members of the extended family and also
Yeah.
families around her, like, and her dad's at this school. Like, there's too much
Well-
going on. There's too much with Michaela. It would be devastating to lose
Yeah.
her. And at this point with Katie and Pete, there's too much plot invested in them. Like, we've
True.
just started new things with them. It wouldn't make sense to kill them. Not the way the story is structured, not what we've just done. So I'm pretty sure someone's going to die, and it's either going to be Kate or Michaela. Probably Michaela with the whole sword roses.
The sword roses, which is cute. I was like, that's a cute name, and like the image of it. But do we think anybody's gonna die? Because we had that one scene where all the kids were like violently hurt / dead, and nobody actually died. So
yes, I do.
Okay.
Good old 20% fatalities thing. It's that whole look to your left, look to your left, look to your right. One of these people is going to be, that sort of thing. It's like, you got a group of 6 and 1 in 5 students does not make it out.
But do we think Guy would be as much of a loss? Because I was like, oh no, but what if it's like Kate or Petey? Or Pete,
That's the thing. Given that they just introduced the reversey thing with Pete, and given that Katie's entire demi-human rights thing has been such a backbone of the story so far, and a window into the politics of the larger world, just in terms of story structure, I don't think the story can afford to lose either. Well, it could afford to lose either of them, but given what's been set up, it doesn't make any sense. This, as much as I jokingly make the Game of Thrones references here, it's not Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, Game of Thrones has specifically shown, like, it does not care about your feelings. It will kill people willy-nilly. It doesn't matter if there's more story for them or if they're plot relevant. I don't think this show is structured the same way. Partially because the only person we've seen die, aside from the dog in the first episode, that poor tone-setting dog, is the teacher that, again, was introduced as just racist and willing to torture students and kind of a nightmare and also a whole-ass murderer. So this world is bug nuts and wild. But the way the story is structured, we have more to do with Pete and we have more to do with Katie. And I don't think this is the type of story to leave that on the table. Guy has had nothing, unfortunately.
I feel Guy might be soon, yeah.
And though I did like has the sort of plot hooks
snake
where
water thing.
Oh yeah, no. I love Farm Boy. He's great.
I think Michaela is too interwoven with things and useful.
But that's
I'm
the
like,
thing.
But then
she's got the sort of plot relevance where as much as she's like in on everything, as much as she brings everyone together and is a responsible adult and is incredibly intelligent and there is someone else in the group that fulfills every one of those roles. They all come together around Katie. Oliver is the other parent figure who fucking knows everything. Like, everything that Michaela can do in terms of story structure, someone else in her group can also do. It's not like, oh, she's extraneous, she doesn't have a role, she can be killed. It would be devastating to kill her for the characters around her, and it would absolutely upend the internal politics of the school because her dad is here as a teacher, and we've seen that girl from the outer family has it in for her.
Yeah.
And Pete, for dumb reasons, and again, this
girl
Pete
seems like a brat.
She's terrible. This is Pete being way too excited about his reading. And again, Michaela's dad being a terrible teacher and showing immediate favoritism to students, which, stop that. Bad. But if Michaela were to die, it would be devastating for the characters around her. It would heck up the politics of the school and possibly external politics. But from a story structure standpoint, it would be incredible.
Mm.
Like, the story can still stand without her there. We
No
can
spoilers,
continue
but place
on
your bets.
without her there. It will
Yeah.
have so much impact. Like, Guy would have almost no impact on story structure, plot, etc. We're going to
Mhm.
miss you, but you have been kind of a nothing burger.
Yep.
Like, you've had some great jokes and one good tip about snakes, but there has been nothing
much.
going on
No.
with this guy. So if you kill him off, it's like, oh, that's the only reason he was here. But if you kill off Michaela, who has been just the background MVP of the entire show so far,
Mhm.
that is going to have some impact on the story, on the players in it, on either side of the fourth wall. So, just in terms of story structure, if you want to kill someone off that isn't one of your two protagonists and isn't someone with a heck of a lot of story that, wow, isn't someone that just had plot devices introduced for them,
Yeah.
but would have impact, it's Michaela. I love her. I don't want her to go. She's if they're going to kill anyone, it's probably going to be her.
Yeah. Well, not someone who's gonna die, but the other thing that stood out, I was like, wait, what are other things that stood out too? Was Nanau's the whole thing with the broom.
Yes.
And it being like Oliver's mom's broom, that he's like, wait, this looks familiar. So then I kind of wondered if there's some other kind of actual family connection for Oliver to Nanau, or is it more just like energy is the same, like similar vibe, not necessarily actual biological relation, or
I think it's
just
vibe.
Yeah, I think it's more the vibe. And so it's like you're similar to his mom, kind of a thing. And then,
Yes.
though that was interesting, what did you think when he had the memory of helping pregnant Belly, or at least we thought it was him helping a pregnant Belly? And I'm like, who's pregnant? And is this you helping, or were you inside and somehow aware? Like,
yeah, I'm waiting for more context on that one.
Yes,
it was very
weird.
What?
Yeah.
Like, all right, you're just not going to tell us. Can we talk about how the opening changed from showing the mask on the ground to showing him picking it up and putting it on? Like,
I like
Code
that.
Chaos up in here.
It makes sense too, because it's like, well, we can't show that yet. Now you know who he is. Mask.
So
yes,
funny.
I did like that. I like the. I think some other shows have kind of done that, where like as you learn something, they kind of like. I appreciate that, because it's not spoilers. We have no context, and then it's like, aha, you can update it. I like it.
Yeah. I also appreciate we're going back to story structure here, because this is a thing I like, and also a thing I'm trained in. I have that English degree for a reason.
You're like, I got this. Yes.
It's like, wait, there's things in here that I can sink my teeth into. Again, why we have a Demon Slayer timeline, because this is the sort of thing where I'm like, show me. This show is very, very good. Again, unfortunately, Guy is kind of an exception because he's kind of a nothing burger, and man, I hope that changes.
Mm-hmm.
This show is very good at every character very much having their own experience. You can really see it with our two protagonists, but you can also kind of see it with their extended group and everyone around them. Like, Nanau is very shonen protagonist energy. And she's also having the magical school experience. She shows up and she makes friends with all of these great people. And then she fights this mythical monster along with one of her friends. And they prevail through the power of friendship. And they save another one from an evil student. And then she makes friends with a broom who doesn't really like a lot of people. But she really likes this broom that's giving people a hard time. And the broom's like, I like the cut of your jib. She's having the magical school protagonist experience.
Yeah.
Oliver is, again, doing the fucking Code Geass thing over here. And it's like, yes, there's all this magical school stuff, but he already knows a lot of it because he's had to study for it. He's been in it to win it on this revenge plot for forever. Like, yes, he's a student in this school, but he's leading a double life as a murder cult leader, and he's going to take down the faculty of this and just, there are two simultaneous, completely different shows playing out in parallel with these two. But you can also see Katie's show. You can see her, okay, we're going to school and I'm focused on animals and, demi-humans, and this is what I believe. And then seeing that come into, and I made friends with this troll, and it turns out he could speak, and I was betrayed by someone I appreciated, and then they gave me their lab, and now we've made a clubhouse. Like, again, very different tone. And we have Pete and his intellectual quest and now gender identity stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like the only two where it's like, what is your story? What is happening? Both Michaela's and Pete's stories are flat at this point. They are static. They have not changed since they came in. So again, we could really take out either one right now and still have the story structure be solid enough.
Yeah.
But you can also kind of see, like, I cannot remember her name, but the other girl with the ringlets who was just going to cause problems on purpose up in here. And her bodyguard, you can see her story and also his story as they would play out. She's doing magical mean girls, and he's doing the long-suffering attendant of someone who makes extremely bad decisions. You have your our guy who started all the fights and wanted to learn and has his own sword style, but he needs to figure things out. Like, you can see his sort of story forming. This show is very good at everyone's a person. Everyone's having their own narrative play out. Everyone, like, even your one-off characters, even your throwaways, everyone serves a purpose in the story, and everyone is having their own story.
Yeah.
So you don't always get that. It's real easy to go two or three people who have a narrative and everyone else is just wallpaper. So it's nice that every time we get a named character and they do things, it's like, oh no, you've got stuff going on beneath the surface. There is actual content here.
Yeah.
So I love that. And again, my bet is on Michaela.
Place your bets.
2 out of 6 has very static character types right now.
Yeah,
everyone else is dynamic.
That's a very, very well put argument. I don't
Coin
want
flip,
any,
baby.
I'm gonna do the wild card that none of our core will die.
Maybe not.
So that would be my wild card. But yeah.
I might be seeing tragedy where there is none, but I can recognize we're going to be friends forever. Oh, the plot's going to get real mean after this episode.
100%. That one I went, oh no, you're right. Of like, that is the like, yay. You know.
Everyone burn this moment in your mind and remember how the sword rose looks. I'm like, oh, someone's going to die.
I think that's it. I think we covered everything of this, but so we're now up to date. Yay.
Yeah.
And I continue to love this show that there's more and more weird shit going down. Like, I love that when we started episode 7, they're like, and Reversi, what? Oh, okay. Like, I love how they're putting so many interesting things in the show and different layers, and how it just started out as this magical. I mean, we've said this before, but saying it again of like, magical school. You got all these other things. I'm like, yes, so it just means I'm liking it more and more because they're just like, a layer, and here's another layer, and another, and another, and another. And you're like, all right. So,
like onions.
Yes, a very big onion. Well, so now next week we'll be caught up, so it'll only be the one episode.
Yes.
So now let's tell you about some other stuff you should be checking out in the meanwhile and such. I was going to say, speaking of anime, I haven't finished it, so no spoilers, but I've watched 1 through 6 of the live action One Piece, and I love it so much. It is so much fun. If you haven't checked it out yet, I just started. I had a friend come over and is visiting, and I was like, okay, we are going to be watching this. And she has never seen anything One Piece, knows nothing. I've only seen a couple of the movies, so I know where things end up way later. So I didn't really know that this is the beginning. Because I'm like, oh, is so-and-so going to be there? And it's like, no, they're in episode like 300 or something like that. I'm like, oh.
That moment when your favorite character is like 8 arcs into the future.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. That's okay, though. I am loving it. I think the actors, I think this is a really great blend. And again, prefacing with, I am not a One Piece fan that knows everything, that I'm like, I don't know what it feels like for them, but I've seen a lot of really cool like image comparisons of what characters look like, or even shots for shots of like how they've recreated a lot. So I do think they did a great job of like honoring that. And as like a viewer, I love that the actors are going into this like 110% and taking it seriously without it being corny. Because I think that's from some of the live action anime that we've made here in the US, or not from Japan. because the Japanese ones, they understand that tone and they go with it, and sometimes maybe more goofy. But I think this has the right balance and the care. Oh my gosh, like the kid for Luffy, I'm like, I love this kid so much. And I want to say, even watching this show is making me more inclined to watch the anime now, because I was like, oh, this is entertaining. Okay. And like, if I want more, that's where to go. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, we'll see how this wraps up, but overall, super entertaining. You don't need to know anything about One Piece to enjoy it. And if you like it, I'd be curious your thoughts. But no, you can
No late game spoilers.
no spoilers, and only politely criticize if you have those kind of comments. But yes. And yes.
Evidently the I cannot remember his name, but the guy playing Luffy, from what I've heard, part of the reason he got the part was his audition was the only one that made Oda laugh. And Oda being involved in this and here for it, and like, yeah, very much helping hand pick the actors. Like, yeah, guys, no, he's perfect.
And casting, chef's kiss to them. They found these people that you're like, yes, they like. You just want to watch what they're gonna do next, and this kid's just adorable, and you're like, I can see why a crew would follow this bonkers child. I just say that because he's probably younger and looks younger in the anime, but whatever, it's anime age. But would follow
anime age.
Yes. Would follow this person who is just so different, and like, you go, I can see why people would follow them, because it's like, how can you not be pulled into that infectious energy? So yes, if you've seen
the raw charisma and the extremely high level of give a damn.
Yes, he's so adorable. And just even like the costumes and like the makeup and how they've done some hair. Like there's a guy who has a braided mustache, and it just looks so good. So anyway, I've been enjoying that one a lot and been watching it in chunks. So I'm waiting for my friend to get back, and then we're gonna finish it. So
yeah. I've not had the chance to watch it yet. It is on the list. It's just been a crazy everything. It's been a crazy everything.
This has been we have a break. We're gonna sit for 2 hours and then get back to doing stuff.
Then we go nuts. Yeah.
But that one, it's easy. It's accessible on Netflix. Random other quick thingy. I'm a quick pause. I was looking over a quick one to give a shout out. Giga Derek also mentioned my money's on the long distance trauma over death.
Maybe. Who knows?
Excuse me. Long lasting trauma over death. True.
It can be both.
Then again, the last time I saw Metal Flower was Gundam Evo, and damn near everybody died.
Okay, but that's a Gundam series.
Yes.
A lot of Gundam series that focus more on the war than the mech thing. Well, a lot of Gundam series. Most Gundam series. Some of them like to do realism nitty-gritty more than others. And 10 to 1 odds, if you're in a Gundam series that is realism nitty-gritty, it's going to be bad. Yeah, Iron-Blooded Orphans did not mess around. Have I watched it? No. Do I know things? Yes.
Did you have any other kind of recommendations you wanted to throw in here before we wrap up? Life.
It's been all the same media stuff for me, because this is how I live my life sometimes. If you are in the Los Angeles area and have the opportunity, I did get to see The Play That Goes Wrong, or Peter Pan Goes Wrong, the other night. How was it? Oh my God, it was so funny. For those not familiar, The Play That Goes Wrong is a show about a theatrical company trying to put on a show on a low budget, and everything goes wrong. People don't know their lines. They miss cues. Costumes get messed up. The set falls apart. Like, everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And it does so in such a spectacularly choreographed fashion that it is absolutely incredible. Like, I love The Play That Goes Wrong. It is, we got a chance to see it when we were in New York, and it was fantastic. Peter Pan Goes Wrong is same concept, but now they're, instead of putting on a play that was written for the show, they're trying to put on Peter Pan. They have a revolving set. There's wire work involved. It's just, it ratchets up the, oh no, oh dear of it all. I do have to say, between the two, I prefer The Play That Goes Wrong, just because I think it's slightly more tightly put together, and I think
Mm.
they had a little more freedom in terms of story with what they were able to do, since they
Mhm.
were just making up the story they were performing as opposed to
Yeah.
following the lines of Peter Pan. That said, one of the gimmicks that the Peter Pan Goes Wrong has, they've been rotating their narrators, and they've all been celebrity narrators. So we missed, was it Bradley Cooper? We missed the previous
Oh.
one.
Mm.
We had Daniel Day Kim, and they make jokes specific to the narrators' careers in
Ha.
this show. And it was, oh my God, there were so many lost jokes. It was incredible. Like, and
That's
Daniel Day
cool.
Kim, amazing sense of humor, great performer. All of them were incredible performers. And again, every time someone takes a hit, every time the wire work goes wrong, it's just like, that was some stunt work. You made it look very convincing. If I didn't know this was all fiction, I would be worried for your health, but I know you practiced that and it all was safe. Uh oh my god, I love Star Kid. This is so wild. It's again, it's watching things go wrong. Like, if it all went well, they would just be putting on a performance of Peter Pan. But the
Yeah.
fun is watching everything go absolutely completely wrong in the best and craziest ways possible. Again,
Nice.
the choreography and the comedic timing for this are so important, and they do it so well.
Mm.
So it's playing through, I want to say September 17th. It was extended. And I know that one of the last narrators they have is going to be Neil Patrick Harris, which for me is almost worth the price of admission over again just to see what jokes they do.
That's a cool idea to rotate out who that is
Yeah.
and have a new performer and essentially a little bit of a roast as well. You
Yeah.
know, that's funny
Yeah.
and creative.
Oh, it's a
Like, why not?
blast.
Yeah.
It's an
Very
absolute
cool.
blast. So if you are in LA and you're able to see it, highly recommend it. Super fun. And
All
we're going
right.
to Les Mis tomorrow as well. So it's just kind of a live theater week for me.
Yay. I did see The Book of Will. I don't know how common a
Okay.
play that is. It is about some of the original Shakespearean it's like a historical fiction. Like, there are some parts of
Okay.
it that are true and some of it they don't know. But
Yeah.
it's like some of the original performers of Shakespeare after William Shakespeare dies, it are like, we should make a book of all of his plays. And so it's the how do we get that done, and just like how do you honor your friends and loved ones after they die, because there's some other deaths, so it's just that kind of like, how do you keep like something you love alive, and just continuing with your dreams or not, and passing that on, and how and it's kind of even more meta in the sense of just how live theater is important and how it affects people and everything. So it's a really nice one. I don't know like how broadly it is
Yeah.
out there. It's also very funny. It was one I went to for a family member's birthday, and I had some other people come and they're like, "What's it about?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's a comedy and it has something to do with Shakespeare." And
Like, all right, let's roll.
yeah, and it was great. It was very entertaining. They did some great sets, and how they did a lot of the lighting on different kind of things happening, and just it is very entertaining to see live performances again and everything. So if you can, Book of Will is very interesting. So
Yeah.
and entertaining and funny.
And like, if you're fortunate enough to have a live theater scene near you, like, it doesn't need to be Broadway and it doesn't need to be Broadway level.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything. Like, in LA, we're fortunate enough to have the Pantages and the Amundsen and a few other larger theaters where, like, yeah, we do get the big shows coming through. Hadestown is coming back to Amundsen, and I'm definitely staring at it like, I need tickets for that. But you can also have smaller shows rolling through and smaller venues. Like,
Ooh,
you
black
can
box
get
theaters,
the
love those. Yeah.
black box theaters are so much fun. And
Yep.
at one point I saw a play and I wish I could remember what it was called. I need to do some diving and see if Google will give me literally anything. But it was an incredible story about grief and love and trying to figure out where you stand after losing someone, wrapped up in a video game programmer who accidentally created a sentient AI. and modeling it after someone he lost. And it was absolutely incredible play. Like, if I can find it, I will throw the name on my Twitter because, oh my God, so good. Went to see it twice. So good. So yeah, if you can find your local shows, I mean, man, even high school theater is crazy these days. It's good stuff. Yeah. And you can't really replace live theater with anything else. There is something about the magic of people being on stage in front of you that you just cannot replicate. I know it can be hard if you're in a more expensive city, if you're with more expensive theaters. Like, yeah, ain't nobody got time for the $300 Hamilton ticket. Like, we get it. It's hard. It's so hard to get into some of these really big shows. Yeah. But yeah, there are other options. There are other places to watch things. Like, it's still the same shows, you know. It might just be licensed a little differently, performed a little differently. And there's always someone going, hey, I wrote this. It's going to be 45 minutes and it's got a cast of 4. I'm selling tickets. Sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes it's great. You never know. Yeah. But you support your theater scene. That's a good time.
Leave a comment. Let us know about any recent plays you've watched or even old ones that you remember that you loved, and let us know.
Also, continue that discussion. Live theater isn't struck in the WGA and SAG strike.
That too. So speaking of continuing on the discussion, though, thank you for joining us at Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. Be sure to follow us over on NTATNB on Twitter, as well as here on Fanversation. Make sure to give a thumbs up to the video, click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm like, it's adorable. It's always interesting to see how other people say that. And then I'm like, sometimes you're just like, what? Why don't you hit the notification bell?
Hit all the little buttons because the YouTube algorithm does things.
Yes. And then, Katie, where can people find you online?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I do reaction videos and whatnot on that YouTube channel. I just actually at about 1 a.m. this morning made the latest video public, and it is a reaction to the latest Five Nights at Freddy's movie trailer. It is the hardest I have ever made Megan laugh on a video, or if it's not the hardest, it's pretty far up there. Right. We kind of went a little nuts, and it starts with me calling the villain of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise a punk-ass bitch multiple times. So, like, that's the energy. It's a little crazy, but I'm very happy with it. So check that out. We have a good time. I am also on a channel called Silver Screams that I do with said roommate, and we talk about horror things, except Five Nights at Freddy's lives on my personal channel because that is a personal special interest. So horror things with some exceptions. Check them both out. It is a very good time.
All right. I totally was like, when I saw it come out, I was like, oh, I wonder what she's going to say. So I'll have to watch it again.
Oh, we got into a bit where I started summarizing the games in the best and worst ways possible.
Okay.
Yeah, that one goes, it goes places. That one goes so many places.
As I would expect about one that you're excited about. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, we got off topic. We went a little crazy. It's a good time. It's a good time.
As if we never get off topic here.
It's a 45-minute video for a 2-minute trailer.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
That's like when I'm picking out what yoga video I want to follow along with, and I'm like, 37 minutes. Nope. All right. 22. Perfect. All right. That's so
do that.
I got to go. Yeah.
45-minute video for a 2-minute trailer, but we go places. We have a very good time, and I have some capital O opinions on FNAF lore.
All right. And then y'all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE across all social media platforms. Nothing necessarily specific right now, but go there. That's the easiest way to be up to date on stuff. Probably I'm more active lately on Instagram, but it's generally the same thing across most platforms. So whatever your platform of choice is. So yes. Thank you all for joining us. If you joined us live and if you're watching it later, no worries. Comment down below on the different stuff we talked about, and hope you have a great rest of your week whenever you're watching this. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.